I'm orange now. Greetings, ghouls, and welcome back to a second episode of Cryptic Cooking. My name is Megan, and not only am I a trad goth, I'm also a professional pastry chef. Gosh, I know, it's been a while since I've done my last episode. I'm sorry. So, since I went back to the magical world of hair dye, I thought that I would go into the magical world of water. And that is the ever so loud air conditioning unit. While it's a luxury I'm thankful to have, it's still annoying to film nonetheless. It would seem as though throughout time and history eternal, most cultures from all over the globe have some kind of cryptid known as a mermaid in their folklore. And as I was deciding what kind of project I wanted to do in the case of mermaids, I discovered there's way more than like the 6 that I initially thought. Today's mermaid, we're going to be talking about the Brazilian mytholoc creature, the Yara. Please do forgive me in advance if I'm pronouncing this wrong. I saw a bunch of different spellings on it, and I'm hoping that I got this one right. Similar to the Sirens in Greek mythology, the Yara is said to be a beautiful, mystical woman and guardian of the rivers of the Amazon forest in Brazil. She is said to have a mesmerizing voice that can either lure victims to their demise or bring them good fortune. So for today's recipe, I'm going to go ahead and make another type of banana bread. I know, similar to last time, but trust me, this one is going to be really good. I went ahead and added 2 very ripe bananas and a cup of brown sugar into my mixer with a whisk attachment. I'm just going to mix it on a medium heat for about 1 minute or so, just to get all of those lumps out of the bananas. That looks beautiful. So depending upon your dietary need or your lifestyle, you can either use 1 whole egg or you can substitute for unsweetened applesauce. The reason why we want it to be unsweetened is because there's already sugar in our batter and it's going to mess with the chemistry of the overall quick bread. The overall chemistry of the quick bread, blame this. This is why it was so loud. And for the conversion, if you're going to plan on using applesauce instead of an egg, is 1/4 cup of applesauce is equivalent to 1 whole egg of about 50 grams, otherwise known as 1 large egg. Give that a mix for a moment, make sure everything's blended together. Perfect, you don't need to blend it that much. I'm also going to be adding about 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. If you have imitation, that's okay too. Just for my personal preference, I always like to use pure vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste. I'm going to be adding 1/2 teaspoon of pure ground cinnamon, as well as a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, as well as 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Once again, just giving this a gentle mix. And then it is time to add our flour. Yes, I wasn't kidding when I said I'm a professional pastry chef. I go through about a 25-pound bag once a week. So you are going to want to use 2 full cups of all-purpose flour. However, if you do want to substitute for cake flour, same ratio applies. And basically what ends up happening is your banana bread is going to have more of like a soft cake-like texture, if that's something that you prefer. If you are somebody that suffers with celiac disease or prefers a gluten-free lifestyle, you can also use alternative flours. I actually keep this one separate from the rest of the items in my kitchen to prevent cross-contamination, but I do really prefer the King Arthur gluten-free flour. I actually really like this flour, not only because is it more affordable for my budget, but also because it has a 1-to-1 ratio. Basically meaning if you were to use 1 cup of regular all-purpose flour, you would do the same exact thing with this. You wouldn't have to do any difficult calculations if you're unfamiliar working with different flours. So we're going to go ahead and turn our mixer back on low. We don't want the flour to fly everywhere. Let us stir for just a moment until it starts to come together, and then you can turn it up back to a medium for about 20 seconds. My butter solidified as I was filming, so I need to remelt it. As I was saying, you are going to want to pour 1/2 cup, 1 stick, or 8 tablespoons of entirely melted butter into your batter. And then once again, turn it on nice and low. Not only do you want the butter to be completely melted, but you also want to add it last. Otherwise, the batter actually ends up falling apart and will separate as it bakes. Yes, so you want your batter to look just like this. It's going to look kind of thick and oatmeal-y, but this is exactly what we want to see. Getting back to the Yara, now you can see me. Depending upon different sources that I found, the Yara is said to either have blonde hair, completely green hair, or even black hair. And she is also said to either have the most beautiful bright blue or green eyes and caramel skin. The Yara was known to be a very well-established warrior and also sometimes said to be a princess in her tribe. The legend goes that she was so powerful and well-liked that her two twin brothers became jealous of her. And as a result, they aimed to, YouTube doesn't like the word, so we're just gonna say unalive her. Now, depending on the source, they were wildly unsuccessful in one or two ways. It's that air conditioning again. The first being that she actually unalived them in self-defense, and the second being that she showed them mercy and it became a little he said, she said moment, with the father believing the boys instead of his own daughter. As a result, her father vowed to do to her what she had allegedly done to her brothers. Thus, the Yara running to the riverbank to seek shelter as she wept, where unfortunately she did meet her demise by her village. However, nature and the very fish below took pity on her, taking her away and thus transforming her into what's now known as the Mother of Water. I'm going to be reading a quote here off the internet, but it states that the Yara is a dual nature guardian of both peril and protection. She is the siren's voice, captivating all who hear it. Fishermen, hunters, and even the casual wanderer by the river's bank are susceptible to her hypnotic song. Once under her spell, they are lured into the waters, forever lost into the human world. Some say that once under her spell, they are either forever living out the rest of their days completely enraptured and cared for by the Yara, while others have an unexpected, terrible fate. You are neither seen nor heard from again, endlessly wandering about the watery labyrinth below. I'm going to go ahead and fill my banana breads in their individual mini loaf pans, which I actually got this at Michael's, and isn't this the cutest thing you ever saw? It is perfect for just on-the-go breakfast, and I absolutely love using these. I have a mixture here of just granulated sugar and a bit of cinnamon. I didn't really do an exact ratio, it's just depending on your preference. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle this all over the top of your mini loaves, or if you chose to use a big fat loaf, that too. Don't be shy with the coating. You really do want to have a good unhealthy portion here. And what this is going to do is not only is it going to give you that wonderful snickerdoodle-like taste, it's also going to create a wonderful crust-like top. Oh yes, it's looking amazing. I already have the oven preheated to 350, so I'm gonna throw those in there for about 18 minutes. Alrighty, so they're definitely cooled down enough for me to actually take out to show you, but essentially this is what we're gonna be looking at. See how it not only has a little bit of a crust, but it also just has a little bit of extra sugar on top. If you've ever had Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like the cereal, this is exactly what this is going to taste like. Not sponsored, by the way. Look at this, isn't that just the most beautiful little loaf? I can't wait. Normally before I sell my products, I always taste test them. One, for quality insurance, and also just because I can. And lastly, to finish off, I'm going to do it with a quote saying, "And so Yara exists as a bewitching guardian of the rivers and streams, nurturing as she is treacherous. She embodies the pull of the natural world as a reminder that both beauty and danger often reside from the same form." Gosh, put that on my headstone. That sounds incredible. Well, we did it. We finally got to do a second episode of Cryptic Cooking. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you for your patience with me as I try to figure this out, and for the really crappy camera quality that we have going on, but nonetheless, I'm so thankful that you're here and joining me. Definitely let me know if there is a cryptid or an urban legend that you'd like me to discuss. But otherwise, I have an entire list of stuff that I have ready to go for the future, hopefully coming very soon. If you'd like, you can also follow me on both of my Instagram accounts, which I'll have listed down below. And thank you again so much for joining me. If this was something that you enjoyed, please do consider giving me a subscribe. It's definitely going to help me reach my goal of opening a patisserie someday. Thank you so much, guys. Creep it real.